The externalized cost, making corporations swallow their own poison. Last time we pulled back the curtain on the grand magic trick of our age, the externalized cost. We saw how corporations make their waste, their pollution, their human suffering disappear from their balance sheets, only to have it reappear as a tumor in our bodies, a toxin in our water, and a debt on our children's future. It's a brilliant, brutal scam, but a magician never works alone. There's always an accomplice in the audience, nodding along, distracting you while the hand is quicker than the eye. So who is the accomplice in this deadly show? It is our own government, and the mechanism of its complicity is not some shadowy, illegal conspiracy. It is a system that operates in plain sight, polished, professional, and perfectly legal. It is the art of the legal bribe. Think of it this way. Imagine a casino where the house always wins. The corporations are the high rollers at the table, placing enormous bets. Our democracy is the pot, and lobbying in its current corrupted form is a system that allows these high rollers to slip the dealer a stack of chips under the table. In return, the dealer, our politician, makes sure the wheel is weighted in their favor. They change the rules of the game mid-hand. They look the other way when the high roller palms an ace. The game looks fair from the stands, but the outcome is rigged from the start. This isn't a metaphor for a broken system. It is the system. And tonight we are going to learn its anatomy, our own role in allowing it, and how we, the people, can finally shut the casino down for good. To defeat a monster, you must first understand its biology. The legal bribe is not a single clumsy cash for votes transaction. It is a sophisticated, multi-stage ecosystem with distinct symbiotic players. First, you have the corporation. Let's call them All Red Chemicals, a multinational that produces a profitable pesticide called Green Grow. They know Green Grow is linked to neurological damage, but reformulating it would cost billions. Second, we have your Political Action Committee, PAC, and lobbying firms. These are the formal conduits. All Red doesn't hand a briefcase of cash to a senator. They hire a prestigious lobbying firm staffed with former congressional aides and lawmakers. They also funnel millions into the American Growth PAC, which exists to support politicians friendly to their cause. Third, you have the politician. In this case, let's call him Senator Smith. Senator Smith sits on the committee that oversees environmental regulations. He is facing a tough re-election and needs at least $20 million for his campaign. Here is the transaction step by step. First, you have your investment. All Red, via its lobbyist, makes an investment in Senator Smith. This isn't just cash. It's a $5,000 a plate fundraiser where industry executives fill his war chest. It's a dark money donation from the American Growth PAC that runs ads praising his pro-business stance. The lobbyists, who are old friends and former colleagues, provide him with pre-written legislation. The Agriculture Prosperity Act, a bill that conveniently blocks the EPA from regulating green grow. The quid pro quo? The deal is almost never stated outright. It doesn't need to be. It's a language of winks and nods. Senator Smith knows that his vote against regulating green grow ensures a steady flow of campaign funds. The corporation knows that their investment will yield a return thousands of times greater in preserved profits. When the Agriculture Prosperity Act comes to a vote, Senator Smith gives a stirring speech about protecting farmers from overreach and votes yes. The harmful pesticide remains on the market. The revolving door. The final insidious stage is the revolving door. After a few terms, Senator Smith's aide, who shepherded the bill, is offered a triple salary job at the lobbying firm that represented all red. Senator Smith himself, after leaving office, joins their board of directors for a massive salary. The people who were supposed to regulate the industry become the industry. The bribe isn't just for a single vote. It's a down payment on a future lucrative career. The line between regulator and regulated isn't just blurred, it has been erased. The psychological complicity. We see this machine. We grumble about it, yet we allow it to persist. Why? So we see this machine. We grumble about it. As a matter of fact, we're grumbling about it right now. Yet we allow it to persist. Why? Because the system is protected, not just by money, but by three powerful psychological shields that paralyze us. To dismantle the machine, we must first shatter our complicity. So the fog of complexity, this is the first most effective defense. The system is deliberately drowning in a swamp of jargon, omnibus bills, markups, super PACs, earmarks. It's made to feel boring, impenetrable, the domain of lawyers and policy wonks. This is not an accident, it is by design. A confused citizen is a passive citizen. When we hear that Senator Smith voted for the amendment to reconciliate bill that altered the baseline for the discretionary budget gap, our eyes glaze over. We click away. We tell ourselves it's too complicated. But strip away the jargon and the reality is stark. Senator Smith voted to let a corporation poison a water supply to save money. The complexity is a smokescreen, a magical incantation designed to make us feel so stupid to object. It's a shield of boredom protecting a castle of corruption. The moment we demand simple, plain English explanations, what does this mean for my family's health and wallet? It is the moment the fog begins to lift. This is the second shield. The resigned sigh is just the way things are. You can't fight City Hall. Politicians will always be corrupt. This mentality is a psychological surrender that is actively cultivated by the powerful. When we believe the system is immutable, we grant it permanence. Fatalism is the enemy of action. Fatalism is the enemy of action. This belief is self-fulfilling prophecy. It serves those at the top perfectly. If everyone believes change is impossible, then no one will try to change anything. It is a psychological externalized cost. The powerful externalize the burden of our own despair onto us, making us responsible for our inaction. We must recognize this fatalism for what it is, not a sober assessment of reality, but a form of intellectual and spiritual surrender. Every great reform in history, the end of slavery, women's suffrage, civil rights, was achieved by people who rejected the "it's just the way it is" of their time. The psychological complicity, the tribal trap. The third and most divisive shield is partisanship. We are trained to see corruption not as a universal poison, but as a weapon wielded by the other side. A Democrat will rightly decry a Republican politician who takes oil money and votes against climate legislation. A Republican will rightly rage against a Democrat politician who takes union money and protects inefficient, unaccountable systems, but then they will turn a blind eye or make frantic excuses when their own guy does the exact same thing. We have been sorted into teams, and the jersey matters more than the game. We cheer when our team's linebacker takes a bribe to throw the match, as long as he's our bribe-taking linebacker. This tribal trap is the ultimate victory of the corrupt system. It makes us complicit in our own subjugation. We become the enforcers of the status quo, attacking anyone on the other side of their corruption while defending it out on our own side. We are so busy fighting the partisan war that we fail to see we are all prisoners in the same captured state. The corporation that bribes both sides doesn't care which team wins. They only care the game is rigged in their favor. As long as we are trapped in this tribal mindset, the real enemy, the legalized bribe itself, operates with impunity. We cannot protest this system away. We cannot petition to a man to stop taking bribes when the bribe is the price of his job. The only way to win a rigged game is to stop playing. The only way to win a rigged game is to stop playing. We must engage in a peaceful abandonment, a collective withdrawal of our consent and our energy. Here is a practical multi-layered strategy for starving the machine. This is non-negotiable. From this day forward, for every candidate, for every office, from dog catcher to president, you must have one single unwavering litmus test. What have you done to dismantle the system of legalized bribery? Not your stance on taxes, not your position on foreign policy, their stance on the system. Do they refuse corporate PAC money? Do they champion anti-corruption laws? Have they closed the revolving door? If the answer is no, they are part of the disease. Regardless of the party letter next to their name, they are disqualified. This one filter applied ruthlessly clears the political field of 90% of the charlatans. And a linguistic shift. We must stop using their polite language. Language shapes thought. Campaign finance is a sterile term. Lobbying sounds like civic participation. We must call it what it is. Stop saying campaign donation and start saying legal bribe. Stop saying lobbyist. Start saying corporate influencer. Stop saying revolving door. Start saying institutional corruption. When a politician is accused of taking special interest money, we must correct the speaker. You mean he took a bribe. This linguistic shift is psychological warfare. It strips away the legitimate and forces everyone, including the media, to see the rot for what it is. We must champion a specific, proven alternative. Publicly funded elections, often called clean elections, or a democracy voucher system. The model is simple. If a candidate gathers a large number of small donations from their actual constituents, they receive a substantial equal amount of public funding for their campaign. They are freed from the endless chase for corporate cash. Their only master is the electorate. This isn't a pie-in-the-sky idea. It exists in places like Seattle and has shown to diversify the candidate pool and force politicians to listen to people, not patrons. This is tangible. Legislative goal we must demand. Finally, we must redirect our energy. The national politician circus is a distraction designed to make us feel powerless. While we must apply the litmus test nationally, our real power is local. The peaceful abandonment means divesting our hope from the broker federal system and investing it in building resilient, self-determining communities. Join a food co-op. Go to a city council meeting and demand campaign finance reform there. Support a community-owned energy grid. Build relationships with your neighbors. This is where you can see tangible change. This is where you reclaim your agency. A system that is starved of our attention, our emotional energy, and our belief in its legitimacy is a system that will begin to wither. We build a new world in the shell of the old, not by begging the old world's bribe takers to change. The legal bribe seems invincible. It is encased in marble buildings, enforced by legions of lawyers, and protected by our own psychological surrender. But it has a fatal weakness. It requires our belief. It requires us to see it as complex, immutable, and necessary part of team sports, of politics. The moment we withdraw that belief, the moment we see it as simple, unchangeable corruption, the entire edifice is revealed for the fragile, pathetic scam that it is. We are not fighting Goliath. We are fighting a man in a giant paper-mache suit. All it takes is one collective poke of truth for the whole thing to collapse. The externalized cost of their poison is our sickness, our poverty, our despair. It is time to make them swallow it. And once we have cleared this poison from our system, we will be ready to face the next layer of the illusion. For even when we have the power to choose, we are presented with options that are often just different flavors of the same control. Next time, we'll pull back the curtain on the marketplace of ideas and expose the most subtle externalized cost of all, the illusion of choice.